All right, family, here we go. I'm just sliding in here real quick, man, so we can go ahead and get a real good discussion off. So lately, I know, everybody been paying attention. I've been actually talking about, this cube, which it's known by a few different names, like the motherboard or the Tesseract or Pandora's box or the motherboard. You see what I mean? Or the cosmic cube. You see what I mean? So, like, there's a lot of different names for it. In fact, the black stone or you see what I mean? Like, there's a gang, the Black Peace Stones, they actually have a gang, like there's a literal movement, a street movement behind this. You see what I mean? So, like, and I know a lot of these brothers, some good outstanding brothers, man, real discipline too. But it just goes to show you how far cultural traditions and rituals bleed over into our day-to-day reality without us even understanding the effects of them or where they originate. But I really wanted to get into a good conversation with you guys today about this cube. But it's not just something typical, because you know what? This cube, there's a lot about this cube that we call a tesseract. You see what I mean? You can pay attention to a lot of movies that they've been showing that's been coming out lately. And they've been showing a lot, like, what was that? That Avengers, that last Avengers movie, not just this last one, but the one before this last one. I'm sorry. You remember when Thanos was coming, that's what he was coming for, the Tesseract. And it was 7 cubes, these cosmic cubes. Now, these cubes have even like the whole etymological or esoteric story that lies behind the existence of these 7 cubes. There's a lot to it, because these 7 cubes also are supposedly, quote unquote, supposed to represent the 7 spirit, or the 7 spirits that each soul has that incarnates into these physical realms of realities throughout lifetime. You see what I'm meaning? That supposedly, and you have to pay attention, I have a lot of experiences that would make me open-minded to this theory, even though I have no physical proof to it. Because let's just be honest, how much do we actually accept without physical proof anyway? Even if it doesn't make sense, we abandon common sense to make it make sense. And that never really works for us. So the one thing that I do want you to see real fast is, before I go too far off the subject and too far off topic, man, is I want to bring it all the way back into just giving you a basic understanding of how far this cube actually goes, what its effects are, even though it has its esoteric and exoteric value. And now I'm going to say this, I'm going to give just a little disclosure at the end of my video. I do want to say, if you already done made it this far, man, listen, I do appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel. Please just click that button, like, share. I really do appreciate that. I'm really not asking anybody for anything other than that. Just like, share, subscribe, because I promise I will keep a lot of explosive and hot topics flooding your way. So the one thing, like, I want to go straight on into this, because I know a lot of people really don't understand, like, what was going on as far as these cubes. And why was it so important for Thanos to actually envelop and embody all 7 of these cubes? Why did he need all 7 of these cubes? But it's not just Thanos. I don't know if you guys remember the old cartoon Captain America. Well, there was an episode of Captain America where there was this big incident that actually happened between, and I don't remember what the guy's name was, this bald-headed fella, but listen, inside of the cartoon, it shows that Captain America, he only wanted to bow down to the guy with the cube, because the cube actually, or obviously, contained, whether mythical and mystical, or in actuality, some type of magnetic properties or potential that would be healing. Now, we understand that there's this cube that's in Jerusalem, and that a lot of the Jewish people that we call Jewish, which is not a people, but a religion, I don't even want to go too far into that, but it's real important that we actually be able to cover all bases with gaining an understanding of how this stuff plays into our reality and what's taking place with it. Because whether you know it or not, this cube is actually the building block of the Platonic solids. Literally, it's this cube. This cube is the physical representation of the material realm, which is also a representation of Saturn, but which is also a representation of artificial intelligence. Not just because these things are representations of Saturn, but because people during certain periods or epochs in time, they start to acquire different technologies and different levels of consciousness that makes us more curious to cause or make things happen that sometimes fall just out of the reach or reason of organic nature. But hey, what does man care, right? As long as man can control the planet and everything on it or within it, he's fine, right? The moment he loses control of anything, that's when everything goes to shit. But we ain't on that. As long as we got access to information that can empower us and help us all break free from the clutches that are literally locked inside of our minds, then man, we really don't have to bitch, bicker, and fight amongst each other. And we can exchange this information. We don't have to manipulate each other to try to rip each other off, rape each other, and rob each other. Like, we literally can come together with the information that we got and literally teach each other how to teach each other how to build what we need to sustain and maintain a finite reality. You see what I mean? Because this is not an infinite reality. This reality is finite. But let's get back to this cube, which is also, like I said, known as Pandora's box. What is it about this cosmic cube in the Christ consciousness? We got to get into this. So now, legend has it that this black stone fell from the sky, right? Originally. Now, one of the precious stones of heaven, but that God deprived it of its brilliancy. Now, supposedly this stone would actually have the ability to illuminate the world from one end to the other. But now, I don't know if you guys ever heard of a Nazi explorer named Otto Rahn, O-T-T-O, his last name Rahn, R-A-H-N. Now, he sought out to find this stone of heaven, or what they call Lucifer's Grail, aka the Holy Grail, as known by the Cathars, right? Now, he claimed to have actually found this stone, but somehow he died mysteriously and his notes disappeared too. So, I mean, we know that, let's just be honest. We ain't got to be conspiracy theorists, because let's be for real. The people that created the word conspiracy theorist are people that were trying to defend themselves against the whistleblowers that were exposing the things that were taking place behind the scenes of what we think is this reality. These people is doing us crazy. But the thing about it is it's just like this right here. You have everything that you actually need right now to take control of your reality and to own it, so that there's no more time to complain or to cry about the things that's taking place. Now we got access to the information that we can build it. Now all we need is the great men and women, the great minds that used to exist here. That consciousness, a template of consciousness, exists here now. Because let's just face it, this cube, though it is a physical representation of what we understand is a celestial embodiment of Saturn, and Saturn is not a planet. Like, they have us all messed up and mixed up with all of these different names that they use to create planets inside of our reality with. But all of these names are literally names that were attributed to the sun. But each of these names, they were referenced towards a specific function or role, or the sun's position throughout the constellation, right? Where it sits throughout the seasons and how it sits, you know, from morning to night. Like I say, if you look at what Osiris and all of these names, Set and all of this right now, Osiris and Satan and Saturn, these are names that represent the sun as it is inside of the underworld, not the world of torment. See, these people have snatched and like transliterated and redoctrinized all of the original documents, because the original document did not say anything like this Christian Bible says, that the underworld was considered as the realm of torment or the land of torment. Hades, which is Sheol, which is the underworld, it was literally, or Agartha, or you see what I mean? There's a lot of different names that is used to describe the underworld. Like there's a lot of different names that is used to describe the one celestial body, which is the sun. Now we have two suns. This is a binary star system, two suns. Now this moon, I'm telling you, I still stand behind my word. It's artificial. I have a lot of documents to prove that there was once a time that there was no moon. I even have documents to prove inside of the Bible. I can go to the Bible and show you in several scriptures where it even explains the time that the earth existed before the moon. But we're not finna get into that neither, because I want to stay focused on the importance of what's taking place with this cube, right? Now, let's get into it, Let me go on and get down here for a minute. Now, I know everybody understands what Pandora's box is. Now, we probably understand what Pandora is because we get music from Pandora. But now Pandora's box literally was a representation of a moon of Saturn's. But check this out. Once again, I'm going to show you that all of these names like Jupiter, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, all of these names, Isis, Venus and stuff like that, I'm telling you, these names are literal representations that the ancestors created, and they were not used as religions like we use them today. They were not. And the stories that we're being forced upon, and the stories that we're using to fact check or compare the notes against these stories with, are all just more indoctrinated factions or parts of another religious system. And these documents or scrolls or scribes are nothing different than what we're being seen done today, or what we're seeing being done today. Sorry, right? With people recreating religions based upon the concepts of the old watchers. It's just that now nobody is taking the initiative to go so far as to demonize or make evil the old deities. They're just resurrecting new ones, or bringing together all of the old deities inside of a new pot, a new filtering system inside of the consciousness of people that is vulnerable enough to accept this information. Because once again, I tell you the truth, everybody's playing out a role. I will not lie to you. I've been dead, I've been alive. I'm telling you now, this is no lie, that all of this shit is for nothing, other than the fact that you have got embodied or accustomed, entranced with a role that you have built a harmony with. Practice makes permanent. Like the person that meditates every day, you got a person that she'll wake up and drink coffee every day and is addicted to it. Like people is addicted to meditation. You got people that don't care nothing about meditation. Like what I'm saying is that there's a multitude and diversity of characteristics and personalities and routes or plethora of ways those personalities are being played out in the reality. Nobody is just stuck inside of a prism as you would actually think. It's everybody that's selling you division for the sole purpose of reconnection that's making you think that you're stuck inside of a prism. But now let's get into it, right? So the story goes, after Prometheus had stole fire from the gods, Zeus, which was another name for the sun god, which was Jupiter, right? Which is Jesus, which is Jesus. Now, Jesus was really Iesus, meaning that Enki, which was Ie, the representation of earth, and Zeus, who are the same people, just in two different cultures. You see what I'm saying? So when they say Jesus, it's just letting you know that from one timeline, they have extended their reach back into these other timelines to where other, groups or cultures of people were practicing different things, but really just using the same cultural context or pretense. It's just that now we call it different things. We naming all of the gods, which at one time you have to understand that there was not only was there a time that the word God didn't exist, but there was a time that the word God didn't mean what it means now. So you see how crazy it is that we understand by bagging up away from all of this information that's been forced into our consciousness without having the ability to reason with it or to, shuffle a little bit of it around, because most of the stuff that don't make sense to us, we just charge it to the game. We chop it up and we say that, we cater it towards man using his own foolish common sense. But we're using the same literal wisdom that was taught to us by man. And we say that God created man in his image or after his likeness. But in reality, that's not true. Man created God after his likeness and in his image. Yeah, I be getting tongue-tied. You see that? But that's what happened. Man done this. God didn't create any of this. And all of these crazy ass belief systems and ideological concepts and scare tactics and fear tactics and fake rituals and all of these things are literally designed to prey upon the ignorance of the consciousness of the people. Literally, brotherhoods and cults created all of these fictitious documents, and by way of either force or initiation have spread them this far over the eons of time. There is no such thing as a negative or a positive particle, no such thing as negative or positive energy. There is no such thing as masculine or feminine. This is not some type of game that these people have created, artificial, virtual particles that does not exist, to explain to you the happenings or the functionings to something they had no clue about and still don't, because they're playing. Now, they understand a lot more than you think they do. Oh, they understand a lot more than you think they do. But they're playing with it all, as long as they have the ability to maintain control and dominance over the planet, man. So let's go. Right now, let's get into this about this now. Zeus ordered Hephaestus to create Pandora as a part of punishment for humanity. Now, Pandora was given many seductive gifts from Aphrodite. Now, we ain't finna get all into all Aphrodite was, right? You see what I'm saying? Because Hermes and Aphrodite, man, it's really the same. It's the same being, right? Hermaphrodite, Hermes and Aphrodite. Anyway, Hera, Charities, and Hooray. Now, for fear of additional reprisals, Prometheus warned his brother, who was his name was Epimetheus. Yeah, you know these people have some crazy names, but I'm finna give you something cold, Joe. Now, not to accept any gifts from Zeus, but Epimetheus did not listen. The nigga didn't listen. How many niggas don't listen? Niggas don't listen today. You see what I mean? Like, all they got to do is send a beautiful little thing out there, man, and she'll trick you up out of everything. Even the air and oxygen you breathing. She ain't even got to be that cute. All she got to do is be willing. And these niggas is gone. They ain't got no standards. Anyway, hey. But, okay, so yeah, now, but like I said, Prometheus didn't listen. Now, Pandora had given him a Pythos box, right? And the instruction by Zeus was to keep it closed. But she had also given a gift of, she was also given a gift of curiosity. Ultimately, she opened it. Now, all of this is just metaphysical or esoteric. You see what I mean? So, like, we have to get into this. We have to gain a better understanding of what I mean when I say this. Because even though we understand this box, I want to show you something else. Boom. This is a moon of Saturn. This is Pandora. You see what I mean? So, Pandora, a moon of Saturn. But you have to understand these moons, man, they satellites, man, they artificial satellites. They're not real. They're really not real. They're out there to create interference and filtering systems as the sun sprays, I'm sorry, because there's two parts to the sun. Now there's two sides to the sun. Like I told you this, we live in a binary system. There's two parts to the sun. And both of these suns are connected by a coil or a cable. But one is getting or pushing the information to the other. Because what we consider as Saturn or a Satan used to just be a star that exploded into two. And this is how we get this double parallel reality that is created between our dielectric inertia planes. So I don't want to go too far off into that neither. Because like I say, this conversation to go all different directions today. And I ain't really come to take it in all of those different directions. But I know a lot of the things that I mentioned, man, a lot of y'all are already going to resonate with. So a lot of y'all already got this information. And I just want to get y'all going through it. So now, I want to go ahead and show you something else. Now, let's go. You have this cube. This cube is actually being illustrated, monumented, worshipped, praised, all of these different things in all different, all around the world, man. Hell, to be honest with you, the cube that's over there in Jerusalem, man, they say that damn thing done fell apart, man. That motherfucker is held together by some damn tape, glue, mortar. They got a rope, belt buckles and shit tied that motherfucker together. Real life shit, Joe. Motherfuckers say they got goddamn cow spit over there, goddamn bull semen holding that motherfucker together. Real life shit, they over there going nuts. But the thing about that QB is because of the magnetic properties, bro. You don't understand. We humans emit a large amount of energy, man. Each cell inside of your body is vibrating at about 1.8 frequency or hertz, right? So 70 trillion cells that are all vibrating at about 1.8 hertz apiece. Can you imagine the type of power and electricity that's pumping through your body? So they say now, and that's the reason they got all these people marching around that thing, because you see, you get the people giving the thing their energy by putting their hands on it, right? Because, and just for lack of better words, because I don't want to go into always explaining this part right now, man, because I'm going to explain to you how even what we perceive as magnetism is actually not real. It's just words that we use to identify functions that the universe is actually doing that are not separate from the totality of the overall effect of it. And that might just be humans' problem, always trying to separate and quantize something. Like, how can you particleize a wave? How can you quantize a wave? How can you quantize something that is not physical, something that is not a particle? So it's like, that's what humans' problem has always been, trying to separate and divide everything into its most abstract and minuscule fashion so that they can tag it, identify it, and conquer it. Shit. What is wrong with you people? Damn. But anyway, let's go. We don't care about all that, right? We focused on getting the hell out of it, baby. So now listen, I want y'all to hear this now. This was a quote from the Pope John Paul the 23rd or whoever the hell he is. He says that the heavenly church already have the cube within their heart. The cube is the sign of membership, and it cannot be gainsaid. You either have the cube or you don't. It is the mark of the Godhead. Jesus has shown me the cube in the heart. It lights up. It is a crystal. It is a cube. Now check this out now. You heard me say that this cube literally is a representation of Saturn, right? But it is representing Saturn on a physical plane from a cultural or cult perspective, right? Because this tesseract or this cube is said to house a harness. How do I want to say artificial intelligence properties? You know what? Wait a minute, because we're going to get further into that. I don't want to spoil it. So listen, let's get into this. Now, let's go here. Boom. So now you see, Christ means Christos, right? Christos is a representation of Kundalini, but it is also another word, and this is what I'm going to say. It doesn't mean crystal or Christy. All of these words are words that came from the same root, like you would have a seed that produces a tree, and from the tree, a lot of vines, and those vines all produce fruit. And those fruit produce more seeds that replicate itself infinitum. So this is what I'm trying to show you, right? Now, Christ is represented, right, as we understand it. Now, not, okay, for the religious people, on the exoteric understanding, y'all understand him to be Jesus Christ, this man that came and died for your sins, which is not like, it's the furthest thing away from the truth, right? Now, there is a lot of guys that have came and died that names was Jesus or Jesus. I know a lot of them right now, though. But anyway, now, supposedly, though, when Christ said consummatum est, and that's when he gave up the ghost and when he gave up his ghost, when he said it was done or it's over, it's finished, and gave up his ghost, his body was taken down from the cross, which is said mystically to have closed up its limbs, reassuming the form of the cube. When he died, the plan of manifestation closed up, as if the cross were refolded into the cube. But now check this out. What does it say? This Christ descended. It doesn't say he ascended. It said he descended, right? He went into the lands of the underworld, the depths of the underworld. And the underworld is literally, if you don't understand that throughout all of the cultural practices and traditions, all they have done is either anthropomorphized or zoomorphied celestial movements and their effects, meaning even the phenomena or the events, negative or positive, for lack of better words, that take place on the planet. Meaning that, for instance, Pluto represented, and you know what? I just got a hold of that today, man. Now, Pluto was actually, I wrote this down. Let me give y'all this. So, okay, now, and this is according to pagan theology, right? The name of the supreme god of hell, the monarch of Hades, literally was Pluto, who was actually Saturn, who was Saul, who was Jesus, the Son, Dionysus, Bacchus, Sheol. I don't like, you name them, Mithra, Tammuz, Set, Osiris, Ra. All of these different names are just names for the same exact thing in different cultures. And some of the other names came from out of the same exact culture, but represented a different function or a different phenomena or occurrence of the sun and its effect with the planet. So I need y'all to get that and understand that. You come from a chaotic nature, which is nothing, which is everything at the same time. Darkness, which is an uncontrollable force, right? And into a civilized realm or reality that is being ran by a priestcraft who have modeled and mimicked to the best of their ability how to govern a physical reality according to a more ethereal plane or a more celestial event. Because I told you a lot of these planets that they name into you, they're not planets, they're stars, and they're not real. Those names are names that are representations for Saturn. So we have to understand this much. And I know, you know, for the most part, everybody rocking with me. I know y'all vibing and y'all flowing, y'all catching this, because it's important that we get this understanding. These people will continue to do us the way that they're doing us, and everybody will continue to have a manipulating force inside of our reality, selling us some type of an illness or disconnection if we don't connect ourselves to that ethereal line. And you can do this. And I'm going to show you how to do this so that you don't need me or anybody else to rule over, run, or try to control your mental or spiritual creativity. That's love. That's open source, baby, at its finest. You see what I'm saying? So we have to get into this, man. We have to get into this. Now, the names that we use to identify the planets are all names for the sun god, right? Now, there was just names used as worship. Now, each one represented a separate function or a separate position You see what I'm saying? So I don't want y'all to get caught off into thinking that, well, maybe there is a such thing as a God. Listen, you got everybody trying to sell you all of these Christ figures and Messiah types because they want to idolize themselves inside of your reality as a possibility or a potential as a Messiah type. They'll tell you you have the potential, but they'll show you they are. Because either way it go, until you hack into or tap into your fullest potential, you will always need somebody else to guide you or direct you to it. But what happens if the person that's guiding you and directing you to it finally see that you have placed much more of your consciousness, your awareness, your love, your trust and faith in them than you should have? Then they'll start to prey on and take advantage of your ignorance or your intelligence, or let's just say, yeah, the lack of it thereof. And I just don't want everybody to have to go through that shit no more, man. I've been doing this shit for too long, man. You see what I'm saying? Now, I just want y'all to see how this goes, man. Now, the cross is an unfolded cube, the faces of which are seen on the 6 squares of our symbol. Now, right here, you see I made this symbol, I got this symbol. I didn't make the motherfucker, I put it together. But I'm showing you a cube and how when you unfold this cube, this is what it looks like. And you can go and, man, there's many, 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 many places. You don't have to take my word for it. You can look this up. You can take these words, the Tesseract, the cosmic cube, the Christ consciousness, the motherboard, machine intelligence, Pandora's box. You can take these words, family, and you can look them up. Man, please don't forget, subscribe, please subscribe. Now, let's keep it moving. You see this? This cross is a representation of the net on the physical plane. And I'm finna give y'all some more heat for this, because don't everybody act like don't nobody know what heaven is. Hey, man, if you don't know, this is what I'm telling you, man. Them pastors preying on y'all ignorance. They lying to y'all. Them pastors know for a guaranteed fact that their thoughts are more impure than yours are, that they think up and scheme up more ignorance and more foul play than you do, that they steal and they prey upon and they vulturize and torture and torment the reality with more demonic and evil energy than anybody ever could or ever has. I promise you. I've had too much contact with pastors, ministers and stuff like this. Man, I got some, oh my God, I got some in my family. I ain't even gonna get on her too hard, man. But listen, I got an auntie that she is a pastor, but she is so full of the devil and got Satan and parasites inside of her that nothing out of her mouth is true or real. It's all fake, fantasy, and illusion, which is why I tell my mother, your sister is a perfect example of what a predator inside the hood looks like. A wolf in sheep's clothing, right? The type of person that spew and spit more evil in your reality than a person ever heard existed, that'll curse you to more hells than they even knew was real. But meanwhile, tell you, I love you, baby. Jesus, he died on the cross for us to forgive us for our sins and all of this stuff. But meanwhile, if Jesus did all this, why in the hell is his children doing all the cursing me then? Why in the hell is his children doing all of the praying, predatory vulturing and shit throughout the community? And I'm not dissing the people that really have genuine hearts that think Christianity is actually the way to go because you just need somewhere to belong to. I understand. A lot of us went into the streets and became gang members because we didn't have nowhere to go, because home wasn't strong enough. It wasn't a strong enough support system. But that's what we're trying to build today. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And we're going to rebuild inside of our communities some things that can't be snatched down, torn down, broken up, and taken. Everybody always say, man, you know, you tell your kids, get up and go get you a job. You got to get you an education and a job. The education is literally built to break you. And the job is, man, we ain't going to get on that. Woo, we ain't going to get on that. Check this out. Now, Revelations 21:16, it says, in the city lieth 4 square. This is the New Jerusalem. This is the heaven, the new heaven. So while Christians are running around here demonizing this planet Saturn, right, turning it into some mythological demonic goat that really represents the Capricorn, right? Because Capricorn is represented by the goat. Jesus is, his death or resurrection or birth date is Christmas in December, which is a representation of the Capricorn goat. But Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. You see, a lot of Capricorns don't even know this. So when they get to tell Mount Satan, hey, Capricorn, they're talking about you too, baby. You see what I'm saying? So let's talk about this 666. And let's talk about this New Jerusalem. Because Christianity, hey, your new home is 666. I'm going to show you how. Now, in Revelation 21:16, it says, and the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth, and he measured the city with a reed, and the city measured out to be 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. So if this city is foursquare, then what does that mean? It means that that damn thing is a cube. What you think is foursquare? A box, a cube, a prison cell. Now, as far as the city measuring out to 12,000 furlongs, we know that there are 8 miles to each furlong, making this city 1,500 miles in height, 1,500 miles in length, and 1,500 miles in breadth. Now, I'm sorry. Surely, this is what the Hebrew Paul was talking about, right? When he says, man, in our experience of Christ, we firstly experience the breadth of what he is, and then the length. This is horizontal. I hope he's talking about this, because when you get to talking like this, and you know, you're talking about these religions that don't already got no good background or good repertoire, when you get to talking like this right here, and make motherfuckers really want to see what the hell is going on with you people, right? What'd he say? Hold on. Let me get back to it. Wait a minute. My fault, people. Because I got to get that to y'all. Now. Okay, here we go. Now, in our experience, we firstly experience the breadth of what he is, and then the length. This is horizontal. When we advanced in Christ, we experience the height and the depth of his riches. This is vertical. These are the dimensions of a cube. Our experiences of Christ must be so rich, so strong, perfect, and complete like a cube. Hey, I'm trying to tell you, man. And you know this is what the Hebrew Paul was talking about, a cube. Right? So I'm giving this to y'all, man. I'm giving this to y'all because now, hey, listen, I'm just going to show y'all, man, you know, a lot of places where you can expect to catch, you know, these cubes at. When they've been showing you these cubes. You see what I mean? Now, hold it. I already gave you pops. But you know, they've been showing you these cubes throughout all these music videos. And I'm finna show you that there's a stronger and a much more deeper resonance with this, man. Pay attention to these movies, man. Now, I know I could have made these pictures a little larger. I hope y'all can see them. They were screenshots. It's hard to come across some real good pictures nowadays. You know, but I got them though, because I want to show everybody that, man, listen, these people are showing you right now inside of the reality, everything that's taking place, everything that they're doing. Now, when we go back into their history and start asking ourselves, were these people prophets? Hell no, they're not prophets. They're writing not history, but they're writing the future as history, meaning that everything that they wrote to you as if it was a historical event or a historical thing, it's what they're creating inside of the reality now. They're moving it in reverse in the way that they're selling it to you. Like I told you, slavery is not real. It never existed. There was an invasion. There was a major catastrophe called the mud flood that happened, and it happened everywhere. So look it up. Look up what is the Great Tartarian Empire and what happened during the mud flood and the Cathars after we came up out of this tragedy or travesty. right? So now, let's get off into this, man. These people, I'm telling you, and what they're hiding from you is that, first of all, ain't no karma, ain't none of that stuff. You here, you are a God force and a God figure. There is none of that shit. I promise you, bro. Like I'm finna break down a lot of bullshit myths, man. People been taking advantage of everybody's consciousness with all they pseudo crap. But I'm done with it though. Hey, listen, they've been showing you this stuff, man, even in our video games, right? The GameCube. They ain't been playing, hell, the Xbox, all that shit. I'm just showing you, man, how serious it is. Like, they've been pushing this cube throughout the reality because this cube goes into all of the religions. You see what I'm saying? These cubes are literally some deep shit because why? I'm finna get into that. Like, I'm leading myself up to that while I show y'all a lot of nice ass pictures of these cubes so you can get a perfect understanding of the depth of how deep these cubes run. Now, yeah, we got a whole bunch of negative energy and shit towards squares and, you know, square shapes because they trap and contain negative energies, circles release negative energies. And okay, I get this. But whether you know it or not, man, this has a way more different effect than you actually think it does, man. And we finna get into it today. I want to show y'all. I ain't finna get all the way off into it, but I'm finna get deep enough into it with y'all that I can let, when you walk away from here, you're gonna have a way better understanding than you had when you came in about a lot of this crazy shit, so that you can protect yourself against a lot of fake spiritual gurus and hood thieves, man. Pimping pastors. You see what I'm saying? Because the one thing I can promise you is, man, these people will not. They will never get enough. They will never get enough. You will see that this cube, man, it runs real deep. And I know I'm moving kind of fast through these pictures, right? And there's a reason for it. I want to show you something. Get deep into it. What about this right here? Now, what is it about this star right here? It contains a cube, which is actually a hexagon. I'm going to show you how you can see the hexagonal shape. You can see the cube shape, because the cube is the building block of all the physical reality. It is the matrix. It is, we going in there. I got to slow down sometimes. Sometimes y'all got to say, hey man, slow down, Zach. Paces, baby. You know, like you got to, I got to take my time and work it slow, right? Every cube contains a Merkaba star, where the vertices of the cube are the vertices of the star, okay? You see? You see? It's the same thing. You see? Now, the cube was Saturn's figure, as Kepler showed in his Mysterium Cosmographicum. This is the reason for the insistence on cubic stones and cubic arcs. Now, I got bibliography, baby. You can go back through here and get these books. All the books is in here too. All right? Now I want you to see something. So let's go into this part first. Nope. I want to show y'all something. Where you go, you're gonna love this. I bet you them what they say, motherfucker never loved us. They ain't never loved us, dog. Hey, and you know something, I know, you know, hey, I shouldn't be cussing right now, but sometimes, you know, we do a lot worse than we accuse other people of being wrong for doing. We do a lot worse than the things we judge other people for doing. So we need to bag all the way up out of that. Let's start teaching our children much more mature. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's teach them a height of maturity beyond the recognition of that's bad. No, that's good. You see what I'm saying? Because some of the things that you think is good is bad. Some of the things you think are bad is good. At one time, slavery was legal and considered good. You see what I'm saying? But now it's considered bad, but it's going into good again. You see, like Christians would tell you, or all of the religion would tell you that murder is wrong, but they'll go to war for God. Like, what do your God that created the whole world need you to go to war for him for? Like, just think about this. Like when you in church saying that you worship the Lord, just think of the word, the worship, a warship. And who was the Lord? The Lord one, which is the moon. The moon, because the moon literally has been placed in that position. I told you those planets ain't what you think they is. Seriously, man. All of this. Now, this is a carbon molecule. And inside of organic chemistry, you will notice that the number 6 plays a very strong role as a building block inside of the physical reality. Hence the term 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons as being the compository fraction of carbon, or this density of carbon. And you can see that this carbon molecule is in the shape of an octagon, right? I mean, a hexagon, right? So let me show you something. Let me show you something. But what is it about this thing? What is it about that? You see how this goes? We live in a 3-dimensional reality. And what makes it 3 dimensions is you have a 0 dimension, which is just a dot. Then you have 1 dimension, which is just a straight line. Then you have the 2 dimension, which would be just a flat surface. And then a 3 dimension would have that flat surface, but lifted now, X, Y, Z axis. So there's not just the 2 dimensions, meaning an X axis and a Y axis. There is a 3 dimension being a Z axis. And we know that in geometry, 2 as an exponent is what? Squared, right? A square is a 2-dimensional shape. But 3 as an exponent is what? Cubed. 3-dimensional square, right? A cube is a 3-dimensional square. So now, each polarity, right, or each degree has its own polarity. So that's how we have these 6 planes of polarities or degrees, right? Because we are 3-dimensional beings. Because even the word human means a harmonic universe man, right? So let's just go off into it. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this shape you see, because you're going to see this shape again. I'm going to show it to you again. Now, how many of us recognize these Sudokus? Will, if you ever paid attention, these Sudoku puzzles are literally as a representation of what they call the box, the grid of Saturn, right? Now, pay attention to these symbols, because you're going to notice this symbol here. Now, this symbol is literally, you see this, and if you can't catch this symbol, come back through it. I don't care, push pause and catch it, because you can catch this symbol right here. Oh yeah, you can catch that symbol right there. But that ain't the only place you can catch this symbol at. That is not the only place that you can catch this symbol. And I'm going to bring it back to you. I am going to bring it back to you because I don't have that picture specifically right here. But I want to show you something else about this hexagon, right? What does that look like? This is a diamond. This is a crystal. Right now, we know that, diamonds, they actually represent the most densest packing of carbon molecules inside of this 3-dimensional reality. They have the most strongest and toughest fiber, diamonds and graphite, right? Because the atoms, no matter how you stretch or position them, they connect at the vertex or the nodes of each vertex. Now, what is this? These are the pyramids. But see, when you look at the pyramids from above, this is what you see. Hexagonal shapes. Because you have these platonic solids, and each of these platonic solids are literally a derivative as the building block, which is the cube. The cube is the building block. It represents the root chakra, literally. I'm just showing y'all, man, giving y'all a good, good view, because now when you see a lot of these images, you will know how to place them and what to put them as, and you will understand what the representation of the worship behind them was. Why people are using these representations. You see what I'm saying? Because see, now we finna get off into it. So what's up with this cube? What is it? What is it? Now, this is a hexagon, and you see, this is a box. You can see it. This is a box, a cube. but it's a hexagon, right? It's only a hexagon because of the positioning, the way you look at it, because you can alter your vision inside of the same frequency and see that it makes different shapes, all of the different shapes. You see the triangles, you can see the square, like you can see the hexagonal shape, like you can see all of it inside of just this image. Now check this out. What do you see here? The same thing, man. I'm telling you, this is how your cells are shaped. Like nature replicates itself, man. And that's the one thing we're gonna get a real good understanding of, man. Let me get down here so I can show y'all some more of this, man. So we can see these squares ain't no joke. You know, these where we at? Metatron's cube. And I'll show you how deep Metatron's cube go, man. Like even what is the DNA, the consciousness template of Metatron? What is the Metatronic reversal grid of the planetary system? You see what I mean? Like we got to really get into these things. Now, a lot of people get up here and get to selling y'all mysteries and shit, right? Theatrics of books and shit, but they ain't really telling y'all what's real. They just selling y'all more and more folklore. You see what I mean? Using that folklore to lure y'all long enough to develop their own reality from it. Real life shit. And meanwhile, the people ain't paying no attention. Ain't nobody paying attention. Now, what we got to understand too, though, is now there's some slick shit about this damn cube, man. Now, this cube, right? It represents justice to the lodge. Okay, so this is like, I want to show you how inside of what they would call the Illuminati, these occultism, these occult factions and brotherhoods and secret societies, the cube, justice to the lodge, requires us to cast the black cube on an applicant we believe to be unfit. Justice to ourselves requires that we cast the black cube on the application of the man we believe would destroy the reputation of our lodge. So now, there is also, I don't know if you guys understand anything about the Tuatha De Danann people. I'm going to say that again. Look this up, the Tuatha De Danann people. Now, it's a long story about who the Tuatha De Danann people is, who the Chimerian people is, who the Lemurian people is, and who the Hyperboreans are. Now, we looking and trying to find out who the Hyperborean race is, but that's not a physical beings. The Hyperboreans means beyond the north wind. They were not a physical being. The third root race was the first physical race, which was the Atlantean beings. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry. The Lemurians. The Lemurians came before the Atlanteans. I'm sorry. And I'm going back before them because the Chimerians existed before the Lemurians because the Lemurians were an extension of the Chimerians and the Tuatha De Danann people. So, hey, we'll get all off into that another time, man. Listen, information is most valuable. It is powerful. Do not, family, allow these people to continue to control your reality through fear and misinformation, because you were not put here as a whole sovereign soul to worship any other man or any other deity or being. You were not put here to till or pillage any ground so that you can provide a greater state for any bloodline or family. You were literally not put here, but you came here as a consciousness to express and experience the totality of everything without obtrusion, without privation, without being invaded upon or pervaded upon. Your reality and the evolutionary process of your soul depends upon the ability of your consciousness to evolve freely. Freely. I mean this. Do I believe that we need rules and regulations? Yes, for people that can't control themselves. Yes, obviously. But you have to understand, the people that made the rules and the regulations was the people that needed the rules and the regulations to be made for them in the first place, because they were the ones that couldn't be controlled. They're the ones that's been enforcing the rules and the regulations on everybody and doing everything that their rules and regulations prohibit in order to place everybody under the subjection or conscious and willful ignorance of their regulations. So, man, listen, again, family, I love y'all. I say click that button, subscribe, like it, share it. Join me, man. Come together with me. It's nothing but love here. I don't got nothing against nobody. I got information that anybody can use to actually help rebuild a reality, how we can use the regular ether, like Tesla was doing, like Steinmetz, like Maxwell, like Heaviside, like these brothers, not like these idiots that was creating quantum mechanics and general relativity for their cult purposes of miscommunicating this real ethereal information to us. With all that being said, family, I just want to say wholeness. I love y'all. We got to meet back up here again sometime soon. Stay balanced with me again. Please subscribe and share.